This video and commentary will analyse the strengths, weaknesses and corrective practices of a 14-year-old grade 9 student performing a specialised movement skill. The Health and Physical Education Learning area of the Australian Curriculum 2010 states that in Years 9 and 10, students learn to apply more specialised movement skills and apply complex movement strategies and concepts in different movement environments. This Year 9 athlete will be performing the specialised movement skill of a discus throw. Australian national coaches David Knowles, no date, and Merv Kemp, 1987, agree that while discus throws are often individualised and exhibit a variety of styles, the same basic principles apply. All discus throws should include a good preliminary swing or wind-up. The objective of this is to establish torque between the hip and shoulder axes. A swinging right foot that creates a good orbit and footwork around the centre of the circle. The right leg should swing in a wide sweeping motion around the left leg that propels the movement towards the centre of the circle. The left leg then rotates towards the front of the circle. A good power position that is characterised by the torso leaning back over the right leg with the throwing arm held at shoulder height, forming a right angle to the torso and should be kept fully extended throughout the throw. Kemp, 1987. An effective block with the left side of the body. Throughout the movement, the left arm should be extended and propelling the body around. When the left foot grounds and the discus is being released, the hips and shoulders should be facing towards the front of the circle. This is an effective block. Knowles, no date. The movement ends with the body facing the front of the circle at the point of the release. Let's take a look at gold medal Olympian Robert Harting performing a discus throw to see these aspects. Now let's take a look at the grade 9 athlete's performance of this specialised movement skill. Observing the athlete performing a discus throw, 3 strengths and weaknesses can be identified with his current execution. The first strength is that his throwing arm is well positioned, maintaining a right angle between his arm and torso and is fully extended as he approaches the front of the circle as recommended by Kemp earlier. Secondly, the left side of his body is creating an effective block, as you can see with his left arm held high, assisting the rotation, and as he releases the discus, his left arm pulls inwards. Just as Knowles instructs, his body is facing towards the front of the circle at the release of the discus. His left shoulder and hip are almost directly over his left foot. His third strength is the good use of his right leg to swing and guide the rotation towards the front of the circle. However, the swing is slightly too powerful. This leads into the analysis of his weaknesses. The first weakness is the dismal wind-up and preliminary swing. The swing does not create enough torque between the shoulders and the hips to drive the orbit around through the circle. The second weakness is his right foot landing too far from the centre of the circle. This affects the overall throw, contributing to the third weakness, the left foot also landing too far from the centre front of the circle. The left foot lands outside of the throwing boundary altogether. The preliminary swing, the overswept right foot and the overstepping left foot are all interrelated and are a repeated issue with this young athlete's throws, which often led to the discus being thrown outside of the boundary lines, which is classed as a foul. These weaknesses need to be corrected in order to improve his performance. Dast, Pangrazi, Sarasani and Brasau, 2014, explain that when developing and improving specialised skills, progression is attained through planned instruction and drills. They state that these skills have critical points of technique and proper teaching emphasises correct performance. Therefore, in order to improve this athlete's execution, there will be a focus on technique and drills to improve the critical aspects of the discus throw. Figueredo, Ogrinowicz, Freire, Shea and Bender, 2018, explain that motor skills can be enhanced by allowing individuals to control a portion of their own practice to ensure it is individualised and that the learner plays an active role in their learning process. The first instruction to the athlete was to try a training technique known as mental practice. Driscoll, Copper, and Moran, 1994, explain that mental practice is the cognitive rehearsal of a task in the absence of overt physical movement prior to performance. Their study, amongst many others, indicates that mental practice is an effective method for improving performance, but also agrees with Dast et al. 2014 that it should be used in conjunction with physical practice, not as a replacement for physical practice. The athlete was asked to visualize himself performing a successful throw and think about the feelings and sensations involved with the skill. Continuing the theme of learning through imagery, the athlete watched videos of skilled performers demonstrating throws. This method of observational learning is suggested by Schmidt and Lee 2011. Video feedback was also used to help the athlete improve his performance, as suggested by Carnell, Ireland, Jones, McGrath, and Van Welly, 2002. This type of external feedback is based on the knowledge of performance rather than results, and focuses on the quality of the movements. The athlete was shown slow motion videos, as you are seeing, straight after performing a throw, allowing him to have instant feedback. Using instant video feedback allowed subroutines of the overall motor program of the discus throw to be identified. The subroutines were isolated to focus on the 3 weaknesses identified before in a one part at a time approach. Carnell et al. 2002. Drills were used to practice each weak subroutine. A footwork drill was used to improve the positioning of the feet in the circle in each phase of the movement. A kickback throw drill was used to emphasize the positioning of the feet at the point of release. A wind-up drill was also used by the athlete to practice his preliminary swings and the creation of torque between the shoulders and hips. The athlete was also instructed to perform some stretches and exercises regularly for his legs and shoulders, as Kemp 1987 stresses the importance of the rotational work of the legs, hips, and upper body, and creating force from the lower body rather than trying to exert as much force through the throwing arm. A kinetic analysis of discus throwing techniques by Yu, Broker, and Sylvester, 2002, also supports this advice and suggests that discus throwers should maximize the amount of force they can create with their legs and focus on their footwork. The athlete implemented the above practice techniques into his training over several weeks for an upcoming state championship competition and noticed improvements in his performance. His footwork and overall results improved over several weeks.